Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of ChitChat Takeout. I'm your host, ZenPho.
I'm Meg.
And so I went and bought an Oculus 2 this week, or an Oculus Quest 2 this week,
Yay!
and I've incorporated it into my workout with playing Beat Saber. That game is fucking intense as hell. Like, it's not what I would have expected from a rhythm action style game. Like, you get moving with it, and there are blocks you gotta dodge, and goddamn, trying to play some shit on higher difficulties, it's next to impossible. I can't even see which direction they're going in before they get to me.
No, I tried it out last night and it was a lot of fun. It just seeing ZenPho, he was shaking his little booty, going with the rhythm of the song.
Oh, I do. I get into it. I get jamming with it. And, yeah, no, there's some really good songs, though. Like, surprisingly good songs. I'd like to see, like, I'd love to see, like, a Volbeat album get on there or something, but...
Yeah. Yeah, we were bopping the Linkin Park last.
We were bopping.
Bop.
Who the fuck says bopping?
I do. We were bopping the Linkin Park last night. It was pretty fun. You know, got your Transformer songs and some pretty emo.
Is it sad that that's where most people know them from? Is
Yep.
Transformers? Like,
And I can name every single song and I can associate it to what movie it was in.
right? I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, they deserve more love than the Transformers franchise gave them.
So,
Right, into this week's episode, on a completely different fucking note here. Meg,
yes.
if you could go anywhere, any point of time, when and where would it be?
Okay, you have made it a very complicated question. So, past wise, I would like to go in the past to fix some of my mistakes. But then I think about like how that can be affected of like I wouldn't be where I am today if I affected my past like that. Even in the whatever theory that is called, if you change your past, your future, your present changes as well, kind of situation.
More like, I don't know the name of the theory, but it's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
you go
the
back,
butterfly.
step on the butterfly, and all of a sudden Manhattan doesn't exist.
Right. If I was going in the future, I just want to go 42 days until Disney. And
are you gonna find a way to bring Disney into every podcast?
Yes, I am.
I will find a topic where she can't do that.
Good luck with that.
Thinking like as dark as I could go. I mean,
You
we could
gotta
do a
remember-
podcast on the Holocaust, and you could still bring Disney up into it. Like, that's how sad Disney is. They can fit into everything.
I actually want to get closer to Christmas because a very special trip is happening at Christmas.
So you don't have, and you've never thought about going back any point in time to a place to do something. Like,
A lot of the stuff I want to go back and I want to change. It's not that I want to... Yeah, there's points in my life where I had very enjoyable moments.
it doesn't have to be your life. Like, it can be before you were, like any point in time. And it can be anywhere in the world that you end up. Like,
right. You're difficult. Honestly, I don't know. Like, time period wise, I would like to go to, like, old fashioned London and whatnot. That would be something I would be interested in, but.
like Victorian era
Yeah,
Viking era London?
Like Victoria version of London. But again, that would be something I wouldn't be, like, 100% on. I don't know. I look more, if I'm gonna travel in the future to get to a certain time period and hope that that the world moves as fast as I think it's going to move. I want to go in the future. I just think that anything I think about the past, I think about traumatic events in time rather than I think about good times in the world.
Really? Well, see, the traumatic event would be my main go-to. I would want to go to the grassy knoll the day Kennedy was assassinated, just to see if there was a second shooter. Like, just to find out.
Right.
Bring a digital camera with me. I don't give a shit if people know I'm a time traveler or from the future or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm taking fucking pictures. I'm gonna bring it back. Be like, proof. Digital fucking proof.
See, I guess I'm not that involved to know it that much conspiracy theories to understand them. Like, yeah, they're tragic events that happen. Like, I don't.
You could go to Roswell and see what actually crash landed before the
Right.
military showed up. See if there was an alien or if it was just some burnt dude because something landed on him.
Or I can just watch the dumb Roswell, New Mexico show on the CW.
But I'm saying you could get the truth from that.
I know.
Like, there's so much that's, speculation and conspiracy that you could get the truth from.
I don't know.
However, if I did have to go into the future, there are 2 points in time I'd want to go. One, I'd want to go to the point where the Earth ends. Because I like to think at that point in time we would have advanced enough to, move away from Earth.
Right.
And I just want to see the end of a galaxy. I think that would be pretty cool. Second point in time I want to go to would be the point in time where they discovered immortality. Which I think we've touched on this a bit on the channel.
Yeah.
I'm a believer in, as long as it is true immortality. I don't like that whole, well, yeah, you're technically immortal, but you might just be a head because somebody cut it off your body. No. Like,
yeah,
Deadpool level of him.
Check out our space episode where we talk about some immortality theories.
Right. But that's the point in time I'd want to get to, where humans no longer age, we don't die, we just exist.
Do you ever watch, like, the first seasons of Doctor Who, where all I can think right now is the Skin Lady?
Oh, God. When you say first season, by the way, that's
yeah, like, not first, sorry. I take that back, like, 8th season. I'm sorry, all you Doctor Who fans.
The first season of Doctor Who, the first episode was the Mayans.
Yes, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I meant, like, the newer seasons of Doctor Who and, like, 8th season 2000s, Billy Piper, and yeah. But yeah, that's all I can think of is the Skin Lady from Doctor Who right now.
Yeah, no, that kind of immortality wouldn't settle well with me. That would be... I'd rather you just kill me.
Moisturize me. Moisturize me!
Yes. No, fuck that. More Deadpool immortality is what I'm thinking, where, you lose a limb, it grows back, you don't get sick, you just don't die.
Here's my problem with immortality. There would be a point in time I would want to die just to know what the feeling is like. Because if I do...
A little morbid?
Well, no, let me finish. I would want to live a healthy, young life to experience everything I have ever wanted to experience in life. Then there will be a point where I think I would just get bored. And that I wouldn't want to do anything.
I think
so I want to move on.
See, I think the world is so ever-changing that it would be hard to get bored.
But I think of how people portray this in media sometimes is that there's a point, and usually it's only like one person is immortal, and everybody's dying around them. So, like, that's gotta take a toll on you if like
Right, you couldn't have any connections or anything.
right. So I think there would be if that happened to me, I wouldn't want to be alive. I would hate everything about life. I would if everybody around me would kept dying every you know 50 years, I would probably be not happy.
But if they came out with like a vaccine for death,
right?
And yes, I know death isn't a virus. A vaccine wouldn't do shit for it, but
Right.
you know, pretend we're playing pretend here, and everybody was getting it. Downside, you could not die once you took it, no matter what happened to you. Would you take it?
Again, I think there would just be a point. Even if the world was moving in a pace where they were moving, like things were changing at a fast enough rate where I wasn't getting bored. And again, I think this comes back, we get nostalgia for older stuff too, so I would appreciate the older, the older things in life as well. But I think eventually I would get bored. I think there would be a point in time where, even the last thing on my bucket list was, be out in space and do something epic out there. If that was the last thing in my bucket list, is like, what do I do now? Right. And that's, I'm actually fearful of retirement because I feel like I'm going to get to that point in my life where, okay, I did everything I ever want to do without doing work.
Is Meg gonna grow to hate Disney when she retires?
Well, down on the other hand, I'll just move down to Florida. They're constantly changing down there, so at a faster rate.
See, I don't know. My thing, like, if you told me, you could essentially be a vampire with immortality minus the whole. Have you ever seen Vampire Diaries? Or the originals or anything like that?
Sort of. I briefly watched them.
Alright, well, I don't know about Vampire Diaries, but at least in the originals, the non-original vampires had special rings they could wear, daylight rings, which allowed them to be out in the sun. Vampire like that, where like you just can't die, nothing's hurting you.
Where would you get your food source though?
Well, no, I'm not just like that kind of immortality is what I'm getting at, not the blood sucking. Yeah. Which, granted, I mean, if you told me I had to drink human blood to survive, I might do it. I'm that kind of crazy, but wouldn't be the first time I did something that fucking weird.
Check off another thing on your bingo sheet, folks, because I'm gonna mention Twilight.
Fuck off with that sparkly bullshit.
Or you could drink animal blood, because that's what they do in Twilight. It's like drink animal blood.
That's not as much fun.
Well, and it's more of a vegetarian, so it never quenches your thirst as much as human blood would.
As I said, if you told me I had to drink human blood to survive, I might do it. Right. But anyway, my point is, I would then take that time machine that I had, go back in time to the days of like Blackbeard and all the pirates. Start up my own crew.
I think that would be fun.
Become the first immortal pirate.
Right.
British tell me to surrender. Fuck off.
I think that would be fun doing, pirateering, and I think that's why I'm so fascinated with the Victorian age too, like, because that was established in kind of during that time period, and I think that would. I don't know, there's something about that time period that's just so, timeless, almost?
Kind of, yeah. I like the gothic aesthetic that came from them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely, like, if you go too far back of that, you get...
The Black Death.
Right. But if you go too far ahead of that, you start getting wars and...
Well, there was wars during Victorian England.
Right, but no, I'm talking like you're starting getting World War I situations and...
Which, again, imagine what an immortal being could do during a war. Like, you could completely change the outcome of a war.
Right.
A single-man army running into the fucking front line.
And that's what a lot of... I think philosophers get into now is that what if wars were taken off of how many robots that you can develop? And
Eventually, you would have to go into human conflict because no side would give up just because you destroyed their. They wouldn't concede their entire country to you.
What if you get to a point where if you had, let's just say you had 50 robots, I had 100 robots, I outnumber you, but you have stronger armament than I do. It would be kind of that takeaway of who's gonna win the war,
right?
Or who's gonna win the battle doing that.
At some point, you would still need physical human troops to enter that fray.
So,
or at least one side would.
Right. So yeah, I've always been in the kind of the clone. I know ZenPho has like some horror film like fear of clones, but I don't know. There's something about a clone that, because I think of Horizon Zero Dawn and like how she is kind of a clone of the main character or the main scientist there, and I think of,
is that clone though?
Yes and no, like,
because when I think clone, I think exact replica. She's not. She's her own being.
Right.
She's not an exact.
And
replica.
I think that's what I would enjoy. So back to what I was saying before of, if I had the mortality where I did everything I possibly wanted to do at a young age so I can do it, and then be at the point where I'm bored, I would just clone myself but not do it exactly. Be like a 99.9 difference, whatever. And then...
You mean a 0.01% difference?
Yes.
I was going to say a 99.9% difference would be something completely different.
Right.
That'd be like a cat.
And then I wouldn't even give the memories to that clone. I would just die.
See, I don't consider that clone at that point. I think that would be genetic similarities, but in my mind, in order for something to be a clone, it has to be exact.
Exact.
It has to have your memories, it has to have your attributes, everything has to be the same.
Right.
Granted, from the point of its creation, those things can diverge, but to start out, it has to be you. Which, now then you also get into the philosophy of creating life with clones and questions of the soul, which that's a deep fucking topic to get into. Alright, folks, we're back. We had a little bit of a water bottle mishap there, but we got it all sorted out. Everything seems to be fine. We'll make do. I don't remember where we were.
No.
Last thing I remember saying is the concept of... Oh, yeah, I do remember. I lied. When it comes to the cloning concept, like the exact replica having your memories, like what I believe to be a true clone, like everything you. Then you also get into the more philosophical and religious aspect of that, whereas it's, did you just create a soul? Is that you, or is that another human being? Like, that raises a lot of questions that most of the world, at least at this point, would not be okay with answering.
Right.
And imagine what that would do if all of a sudden it's, you can create human life. Well, a lot of religions are gonna get a little pissy with that one. Or it would destroy the religions altogether.
I think... See, when it comes to that, I think we'd be beyond that. This comes back to something that ZenPho and I were talking about earlier, and I just kind of... I think we'd be past that, of the whole religious aspect and whatnot, and...
See, I don't think religions will ever die. I think they will evolve. I think they will change, but I don't think they're ever going to completely die. I think, they'll change, and I still think there will be ones out there groups of people out there that will have issues with the idea of cloning. Alter Carbon, for example, the religion in that world didn't like the fact that they could be spun back up. Which again, this is something we talked about in our previous episode.
Right. I am having such a freaking brain fart right now. Like,
Do, do, do. Can I get a soundboard? So we'll just turn that into one this time.
Alright. I can't do this right now. Why can I not do this right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, I literally just looked over my mic at her. Listening to her talk and like getting ready and yep.
I don't know what to do. Okay. So, what like time philosophy do you like better? Of the butterfly effect, which is if you change something in your past, it affects your present, or do you like the theory of the multi-dimensional theory of if you change something in the past, it doesn't necessarily your present's gonna change. It just means it's gonna create a new dimension or a new timeline doing that, and then you have multiple timelines on the grid.
Both, I think, have their merits. I personally am more of a fan of the multiverse effect, where somewhere there is a universe. Every time there is a decision that can be made, there is a universe where you choose one that you didn't hear. Like, if you were going to start off walking with your left foot, you're now walking with your right foot in that one. Like, it can be little mundane things.
Right.
You know?
So,
So I believe there's constantly that, a new
dimension is gonna get
being created where that thing did
right.
happen. So there is, in theory, somewhere out there, I am married to Hillary Duff.
Keep believing that.
Hey. Guy can dream, can he?
So, I don't like using the Avengers philosophy on time travel because, to be honest, they broke it and it sucks.
Yeah, it didn't really make much sense, did it?
Yeah.
Because technically there's still a timeline out there where everybody was snapped.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not part of their timeline.
Yeah, it gets broken. So...
Ooh, I wonder if that's how they're going to do the whole Black Panther thing.
By the way, we just watched Falcon and Winter Soldier before this, and that's why we're talking about that.
Just accept the fact that we watched something Avengers related before we do this. But I wonder if that's how they'll introduce or do the whole new Black Panther thing, because it is technically a new timeline. Right. So maybe this timeline had another Black Panther. I don't like the idea of him being replaced, but
we can talk about that later. But what I was going to say, when it comes to multi-dimensional time travel, I like the Steins Gate version of it. It's an anime.
Steins Gate?
It's called Steins: 7: Gates. It's an anime about this group of kooky scientists who comes across time travel. Duh, that's how it works. He turns back time to a certain point in the day. Or he gets to the point where he's doing like weeks, months, depending on his theories. And he realizes he's hopping on different timelines every single time he does it. Because I think in one of the episodes he realizes this is the same timeline that I did in like 2 episodes ago. It's a very good show. It's a highly recommended show. I actually think
So is he creating timelines or just going to pre-exist? Because if he's going to pre-existing ones, by him going there, wouldn't that in itself create a new timeline?
We talked about that in the anime. So yes, it is him creating the timelines. But what essentially is happening, so somebody else time, it was destined for him to always time travel. So those,
Oh, it's some Doctor Who bullshit.
yeah, it's a paradox. Oh, I meant to ask you, do you like that theory too, where you're meant to be there and that all, like, anything you do in that timeline was meant to happen? No butterfly effect, no dimensional.
No, because that does away with the whole free will thing.
Right.
Without that, I mean, that would, if that does exist, that would mean that nothing we do on a daily basis means shit because we, like, no decisions we make mean anything because we're
Right.
predestined to do it.
Because the only two things I know that does that is Doctor Who and the Harry Potter.
No, time turners are not like that.
I thought in
No.
The Prisoner of Azkaban, because that was the whole thing of him, him doing the Patronus on the edge of the water. He thought that was his dad, but then
No, you
come
can't.
to find out that was him. So he was meant to do that the entire time.
It will change the past forever once you do it, but it's not a destined thing.
Okay.
He still had to make the decision to go back.
Right.
Because if you run into your past self, that was the whole thing with why only Hermione was given the time turner. Because if you run into your past self, you can fuck up everything.
Right.
So it's a big, yeah. Which is also why, excuse me, folks. Which is also why in the Cursed Child, canon or not, I don't fucking know. But they destroyed all the time turners except for one for some fucking reason, and that's what caused all the events in that
Right.
one.
Still don't understand Hermione just, like, suddenly showing up in classes. I never got that point of her just, like, suddenly showing up in classes and she did the time turner. So I don't know if that was past Hermione or future. Like,
Showing up in the classroom?
yeah.
Well, that would have been future Hermione going back, because she could have just sat in her chair in the classroom
Right.
and
Okay,
gone
that
back
makes
and been,
sense.
oop,
Yeah.
I'm here now. But, yeah, then you also have the thought of, why didn't somebody, like one of the powerful wizards, like Dumbledore or somebody, Snape, fucking anyone, take a time turner, go back in time to when Voldemort was a kid, Avada Kedavra his fucking ass. Yeah, you'll spend the rest of your life in wizard prison, but
how it should have ended?
yes. But just think about that. Like, you do that, you'll spend the rest of your life in the wizard prison, but you just saved the fucking world.
Right.
And yeah, maybe nobody knows. It's like the kill Hitler thing. Do you go back in time and kill baby Hitler? Or is it because he's baby Hitler you try to raise him to be better?
Unless there was specific, like, circumstances where they couldn't change the timeline that much.
Why not? If you can change it a little, you can change it a lot.
Maybe they were worried of, like, how much that would actually change.
Like,
but you gotta think Snape and Dumbledore were already at the point where they were just focused on the Horcruxes and that was it.
Exactly, so the plan B, just avoid all this shit, avoid those ever being made, don't bother trying to find them, and just kill the little bastard.
I guess you're right. Well,
but that, yeah, because that brings up the whole thing. In that whole story, it's good is good and bad is bad. There is no gray area in that whole series, and it's kind of weird.
I mean, Snape was kind of gray.
No, he was wholly good, pretending to be bad. There was no just like, there was no, to use Dungeons and Dragons slogan here, there was no like chaotic neutral.
Right.
There was chaotic good, chaotic evil, and pure evil. It's like they didn't have any of the neutrals in there. Why the fuck not?
That makes sense.
Like, human beings are generally neutral. Whether you
actually, so what's your take on Malfoy changing sides?
I don't think he did. I think he was just a fucking coward.
True.
I think he realized his side was losing, so he was like, "Oh, fuck this shit. I'm gonna pretend to be one of you guys now."
Right.
And then he was too scared to start up the fight again. I don't think he actually changed.
Okay.
Granted, again, Cursed Child, take it as canon or not, fucking does some weird shit with him. I don't like it. I don't believe it
Yeah,
should
I
be
haven't
considered
read
canon.
the Cursed Child. I kind of want to, but
It's really shitty. Like, even the writing, it's written like a play, and it wasn't even written by J.K. Rowling. Yeah, it was written by somebody else and endorsed by her.
right.
Like, yeah, there's some weird shit like
Was
that.
it? So what I've been interested in lately is the Avatar Kyoshi book I've been reading, which is by I don't remember the first art. It's the book is over there. It's right there in the chair.
The book is by Fick Yi. Fuck Yi.
And then it's an association with one of the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I don't know. I went back and watched like the episode where Kyoshi kind of came out of Aang, and it's called Avatar Day, and then just like, how did I get from plot A that I'm reading in the book now to plot B, which is Avatar Day? Like, how did I get to that girl to this girl? Like, can you explain to me? I haven't finished the book. I'm probably like almost halfway there.
Right, but you brought this up the other day too, and I stand by my thought that this, like, because this is a series of books. This isn't just this
so
one.
there's 2 books out so far.
Right.
I think there might be a third one coming out.
I think they're what the creator wanted it to look like, wanted to make it, and was overruled by either the other creator or
Right.
by Nickelodeon, Paramount, whoever.
Right. In this book, it definitely would have not fly on television for kids. I will tell you that right now. There was a very gruesome part there's a lot of abuse in the book so far that I've read. That would have not fly on a kids television show. So I'm super glad that you gave me a book, but God, please make this into a TV show for adults.
But you gotta think, if it wasn't a kids show, if it was just a general anime, wouldn't it have gone the way of Naruto? Where, yeah, it had a huge fan base at first, but then just got strung out for too fucking long. And 90% of the people that cared about it stopped caring.
So, I believe that with Korra. So, the actual Avatar: The Last Airbender series of them.
She's talking about the movie. She loved it.
No, I hated the movie, and this is the reason. Not the reason why, but what I'm saying is that they had to cover up the mistake of the movie, and they did a wonderful job of giving us a 3rd season and putting it in a nice, neat little box and wrapping it up with a bow. I love you guys, and thank you for continuing on some of the important questions that we had in season 3 through 1 of different questions that we might have had throughout with the comment series. Thank you. But Korra was a money grab situation, and I hate it because of that. Because you know why it was a fucking money grab? They started Avatar was popular again within my age group, because I was the age group that watched Avatar when it came out on Nickelodeon. So they thought, oh, we'll just release Korra onto Nickelodeon at this time frame. Guess what? We're almost adults now. We don't have time to watch kids shows for an hour on, TV.
But you still found a way to watch every episode.
Yes, I did. You know why? Because eventually they moved everything to online basis.
Netflix in particular.
Actually, no. Beforehand, when they were premiering the stuff, they had actually posted it on their site
Paramount Plus or
No, like
Nickelodeon.com.
Nickelodeon.com. This is even before
Do
streaming.
any of you out there remember
Oh my
Nickelodeon.com
god, it was great.
and CartoonNetwork.com?
And I used to play this drum game on Disney.com.
Like,
It was
remember when
awesome.
all these channels had games?
Right.
I remember there used to be a Ben 10 like game builder on CartoonNetwork.com, and I loved it. Like, that game was fucking great. There was also a Kids Next Door game that was pretty good. And we're getting way off topic here,
Yeah, we are. All I can say, the book is great. Not, I'm not saying go get it, but it's a great read for especially somebody who watched Avatar as a kid and now is 24 years old. It's a good read for adults. Even though it's a young adult book, it's definitely a good book to read for adults. All right, ZenPho. I think it's about that time for us to.
Yep, I agree 100%. I'm exhausted. I'm sore, and I need to lay down, take a nap. Again, I took a nap today. Fuck, today's Friday. That means I gotta work tomorrow. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed, be sure to let us know with a little like, maybe a subscribe. And if you didn't like, go ahead and let us know why in the comments, and hit that dislike button.
All right.
Hit it twice if you want.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye. Bye.